Whispers of Tenochtitlan, a 5-chapter bedtime story. Chapter 1, The Morning Canoe. You wake to the soft rustle of reeds around your canoe. The gentle lapping of water against the woven hull creates a rhythm like a mother's heartbeat, steady and calm. The morning mist rises from Lake Texcoco, delicate tendrils of vapor dancing in the pale dawn light. Your canoe drifts slowly through the chinampas, those floating gardens that your ancestors have tended for generations, each one a small island of life in the vast lake. The water beneath you is clear and cool. You can see the muddy bottom where fish dart between the roots of water lilies. White herons stand motionless in the shallows, their reflections perfect mirrors on the still surface. The air smells of fresh water and growing things, of amaranth flowers and young maize shoots reaching toward the sun. You paddle gently, your wooden oar making barely a sound as it cuts through the water. The motion is slow, rhythmic, like breathing. Each stroke carries you deeper into the floating gardens, where the people of Tenochtitlan grow their food in harmony with the lake. Ahead, you see an elderly woman tending her chinampa. Her movements are graceful and practiced as she harvests tomatoes, their red skin gleaming like small jewels in the morning light. She looks up and smiles, her face weathered by years of gentle sun and lake breezes. She speaks softly in Nahuatl, the ancient language that flows like water. Yolteotl, she says. Good heart to you, young. 1. The woman's chinampa is a masterpiece of cultivation. Rows of maize stand tall and green, their silken tassels catching the breeze. Between them grow beans, their vines spiraling upward in perfect partnership with the cornstalks. Squash plants spread their broad leaves like green blankets, their yellow blossoms opening to greet the day. This is the sacred trilogy, the 3 sisters that have sustained your people for countless generations. Maize, beans, and squash, growing together, supporting each other, just as the people of Tenochtitlan support one another. You pause your paddling, letting the canoe drift slowly past beds of chili peppers. Their small red and green fruits hang like tiny lanterns among the dark leaves. The old woman picks a few and offers them to you. Their scent is warm and earthy, promising the rich flavors that will grace the evening meal. Nearby, another gardener tends rows of amaranth, the grain that is sacred to your gods. The plants stand tall and proud, their deep red flowers cascading like waterfalls of crimson silk. The seeds from these plants will be ground into flour, mixed with honey and the blood of sacrifice, then formed into images of the gods during the great festivals. But now, in this peaceful morning moment, there is no thought of ceremony or ritual, only the gentle work of tending the earth and the soft sounds of water against the chinampas. A family of ducks glides past your canoe, the mother leading her ducklings in a perfect line. They paddle with tiny webbed feet, leaving small wakes in the still water. One duckling falls behind, and the mother circles back, calling softly until her little one catches up. The sound is gentle, musical, like a lullaby carried on the morning breeze. You continue to drift, your canoe moving slowly between the garden islands. The sun climbs higher, casting long shadows across the water. The light is soft and golden, filtering through the morning mist, creating patterns of light and shade that dance on the lake's surface. An old man poles his canoe toward the great city, his vessel heavy with fresh vegetables from his chinampa. Bundles of green onions, baskets of tomatoes, armloads of leafy greens that will feed the families of Tenochtitlan. He moves with the patience of one who knows that all good things come in their proper time. His pole enters the water without a splash, lifting and dipping in perfect rhythm. The morning air carries the sound of distant conch shells, calling the faithful to the first prayers of the day. The sound is deep and resonant, like the voice of the lake itself. It echoes across the water and fades into the soft murmur of awakening life. Waterbirds call to one another across the chinampas. Their voices blend with the gentle splash of oars and the whisper of wind through the reeds. Somewhere in the distance, a mother sings to her baby, the melody floating over the water like incense, sweet and soothing. Your eyelids grow heavy as you listen to these morning sounds. The gentle rocking of your canoe, the soft lapping of water, the distant singing, all blend together into a symphony of peace. The sun warms your face, and the lake breeze carries the scent of water lilies and fresh earth. You let your hands rest on the sides of the canoe, feeling the smooth wood worn soft by countless journeys across these sacred waters. Your breathing slows to match the rhythm of the waves, in and out, like the eternal tide of life itself. The morning mist begins to lift, revealing more of the floating gardens stretching endlessly across the lake. Each chinampa is a small world, tended with love and patience, providing for the great city that rises like a dream from the waters of Lake Texcoco. Your canoe drifts slowly toward a bed of water lilies, their white petals opening to welcome the growing warmth of the sun. The flowers rest on the surface like sleeping swans, their fragrance delicate and sweet, mixing with the clean scent of lake water and morning air. A gentle current catches your canoe, carrying you slowly toward the distant shore where Tenochtitlan awaits. But there is no hurry, no urgency, only the peaceful progress of the boat across the calm water, like a prayer spoken in the ancient language of the lake. The old woman in the chinampa waves farewell, her weathered hand moving slowly against the brightening sky. Her smile is warm and peaceful, filled with the contentment that comes from a life lived in harmony with the earth and water. Your eyelids grow heavier with each gentle rock of the canoe. The morning sounds fade into a soft murmur, like distant voices speaking words of comfort and peace. The sun's warmth spreads across your skin, and the lake breeze whispers ancient secrets through the reeds. You drift slowly, peacefully across the sacred waters. Your breathing deepens, matching the eternal rhythm of the lake. In and out, in and out. The morning mist wraps around you like a soft blanket, and the gentle sounds of the chinampas fade into dreams. You drift into a deep, restful sleep. Chapter 2. The Temple Garden. You find yourself in the sacred garden of the Great Temple, where the priests tend plants that connect earth to sky, heaven to the human heart. The morning sun filters through the leaves of ancient trees, creating patterns of light and shadow, that dance gently on the stone pathways. The air here is different, heavier with the scent of copal incense and blooming flowers. The priests have burned sacred resin since before dawn, sending prayers up to Tonatiuh, the sun god who brings life to all growing things. The smoke rises in slow spirals, carrying the fragrance of pine and honey, mixing with the natural perfume of the garden. You walk slowly along paths made of smooth volcanic stone, each step silent on the perfectly fitted blocks. These walkways were built by master craftsmen who understood that even the ground beneath one's feet should honor the gods. The stones are warm from the sun, their surface polished by countless footsteps of worshippers who have walked these paths for generations. To your left grows a grove of precious cacao trees, their broad leaves rustling softly in the gentle breeze. The trees are heavy with pods, some green and young, others ripening to deep red and gold. These pods contain the sacred beans that will become chocolate, the drink of nobles and gods, bitter and rich and flavored with vanilla and honey. An elderly priest tends the cacao trees with infinite care. His movements are slow and deliberate, each gesture a form of prayer. He speaks softly to the trees in Nawat, thanking them for their gifts, asking them to continue blessing the people with their sacred fruit. His voice is barely above a whisper, but it carries the weight of centuries of devotion. Near the cacao grove, you discover a garden of medicinal plants, each one carefully cultivated for its healing properties. Here grows the precious vanilla orchid, its vines climbing the trunks of nurse trees. The tiny flowers are pale yellow-green, almost translucent in the dappled sunlight. Their fragrance is subtle and sweet, promising the precious pods that will flavor the chocolate of the gods. A young apprentice priest waters the plants with water carried from sacred springs. The liquid falls from his clay vessel in a gentle stream, each drop blessed and purified through ritual and prayer. He moves from plant to plant with reverence, understanding that each herb contains the power to heal, to connect the body with the sacred forces of nature. You pause beside a bed of morning glory flowers, their trumpet-shaped blooms opening to catch the early light. These flowers are sacred to the priests, who use their seeds in ceremonies to speak with the gods, to see visions of truth and wisdom. The blooms are deep blue and purple, like pieces of sky that have fallen to earth. Their surfaces shimmer with dewdrops that catch and scatter the sunlight like tiny prisms. Nearby grows a patch of chia plants, their small white and purple flowers nodding gently in the breeze. The seeds of these humble plants provide strength and endurance, mixed with water to create a drink that can sustain a runner for an entire day. The priests harvest the seeds carefully, grinding them into flour that will nourish both body and spirit. A butterfly lands on your shoulder. Its wings are brilliant orange, marked with black and white. This is a messenger from the gods, a sign that your presence in the sacred garden is blessed. The butterfly rests there for a long moment, its wings opening and closing slowly, like breathing, before it flutters away to sip nectar from the morning glory blooms. The sound of water draws you deeper into the garden. You follow a path that winds between beds of aromatic herbs, past plants whose names are whispered only in the most sacred ceremonies. The air grows cooler as you approach the source of the sound, a small spring that bubbles up from deep within the earth. The spring forms a natural pool lined with smooth river stones. The water is crystal clear, so pure you can see every pebble on the bottom. Small fish dart in the shadows, their silver scales flashing as they move through the sacred water. This spring has flowed here since the beginning of time. Its waters used to bless the seeds before planting, to purify the ritual vessels, to carry prayers to the water gods who dwell in the depths of Lake Texcoco. You kneel beside the pool, cupping the cool water in your hands, feeling its life-giving power flow through your fingers. The water tastes of earth and stone, of deep places where the gods whisper their secrets to the roots of mountains. A priest has scattered flower petals on the surface, marigold and water lily, creating a floating mandala of orange and white that slowly revolves in the gentle current. Bamboo tubes direct some of the spring water through the garden, carrying life to every corner of this sacred space. The sound of water flowing through these channels is like soft music, a constant gentle murmur that blends with the rustling of leaves and the distant chanting of priests at morning prayers. You follow one of these water channels, watching how it nourishes bed after bed of sacred plants. Here grows tobacco, its large leaves heavy with morning dew. The priests will dry these leaves and burn them as offerings, the smoke carrying prayers up to the sky gods who dwell among the clouds. Further along the channel, you discover a grove of paper trees, their bark harvested to create the sacred books where priests record the movements of stars and planets, the names of gods, the proper days for ceremonies and planting. The trees stand tall and straight, their bark smooth and pale, ready to receive the gift of writing, the marriage of thought and symbol that allows wisdom to flow from one generation to the next. A gentle breeze stirs the leaves overhead, creating a soft rustling that sounds like whispered prayers. The movement of air through the garden carries the mingled scents of all the sacred plants: cacao and vanilla, tobacco and copal, morning glory and marigold. Each fragrance a thread in the tapestry of devotion that surrounds this holy place. You find a stone bench beneath a flowering tree, its surface worn smooth by countless visitors who have sat here in meditation and prayer. The bench is warm from the morning sun, and when you sit, you can feel the accumulated peace of all those who have rested here before you, seeking connection with the divine, finding solace in the beauty of the sacred. Garden. Above you, the tree's branches form a canopy of green leaves and white flowers. The blossoms are small and delicate, their petals falling occasionally like gentle snow, landing on your shoulders and in your hair, blessing you with their fragrance and beauty. Each falling petal is a gift, a reminder that all beauty is temporary. All peace must be treasured in the moment it is given. The sound of distant drums begins. So soft, it might be the heartbeat of the earth itself. The rhythm is slow and steady, matching the pace of your breathing. A flow of water through the garden channels. The eternal cycle of growth and rest that governs all life. a pair of hummingbirds appear among the flowers. Their wings beating so fast, they create a soft humming sound. They hover before the blossoms, sipping nectar with their long tongues, their feathers iridescent green and blue, like tiny segments of rainbow brought to life. In Aztec belief, these small birds carry the souls of warriors who died in battle, now forever blessed to drink from the flowers of paradise. Your eyelids grow heavy as you sit in this sacred space. The gentle sounds of the garden, the soft rustle of leaves, the murmur of water, the distant drums, all blend together into a symphony of peace that seems to slow time itself. The morning sun climbs higher, but here in the garden, beneath the canopy of flowering trees, the light remains garden. You rest peacefully in this holy place where earth meets heaven, and every moment is blessed. You drift into a deep, restful sleep. Chapter 3, The Featherworker's Workshop. You step through a doorway carved with symbols of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, into the workshop of a master featherworker. The room is filled with soft light filtering through windows covered with thin sheets of translucent obsidian, casting everything in a gentle, golden glow. The air is warm and still, carrying the faint scent of beeswax and the clean smell of carefully preserved feathers. Thousands of feathers line the walls, sorted by color and size, each one perfect, each one a small miracle of nature's artistry. Green feathers from the sacred Quetzal bird, blue from the cotinga, red from the cardinal, yellow from the goldfinch, all arranged in perfect harmony, like a living rainbow. You settle onto a low mat woven from soft reeds, watching as the master craftsman works at a low table. His movements are slow and precise, each gesture the result of decades of practice, of knowledge passed down from father to son, from teacher to student, through generations of devoted artisans. Before him lies a partially completed headdress, a work of art that will one day grace the head of a noble or priest. The base is made of woven bamboo, light as air but strong as stone. Around this foundation, the craftsman attaches feathers one by one, using a technique that his grandfather's grandfather learned from the gods themselves. He picks up a single Quetzal feather, holding it up to catch the light. The feather shimmers with an inner fire, green that shifts to blue, then back to emerald as it moves. This one feather is worth more than a commoner's house, more precious than gold. For the Quetzal bird cannot live in captivity. These feathers come only from birds that live free in the cloud forests of the distant mountains. With infinite care, the craftsman positions the feather, aligning it perfectly with those already in place. He uses a tiny brush made from a single hair to apply dots of pine resin, the adhesive that will hold the feather in place for centuries. His concentration is complete, total. Like a priest performing the most sacred ritual, the workshop is quiet, except for the soft sounds of the craftsman's work. The gentle tap of his bone needle, the whisper of feathers brushing against each other, the slow rhythm of his breathing as he focuses all his attention on this single moment. This single feather this single step toward perfection. Along the walls, you see examples of the craftsman's art. Shields decorated with feather mosaics that tell the stories of great battles. Cloaks that shimmer like the surface of a lake at sunset. Headdresses so beautiful, they seem to capture pieces of the sky itself. Each piece represents months or years of patient work, of devotion to beauty, of service to the gods who gave birds their glorious plumage. A young apprentice sits nearby, carefully sorting feathers by size. His movements are slow and reverent. Understanding that he handles materials more precious than any earthly treasure. Each feather must be perfect, without flaw, worthy of the gods and nobles who will wear the finished pieces. The apprentice holds up a tiny hummingbird feather, no larger than your thumbnail, but glowing with colours that shift and change as it moves. In the gentle light of the workshop, it looks like a fragment of sunset, a piece of rainbow. A prop of liquid fire. He places it carefully in a gourd container with dozens of others exactly like it, each one destined to become part of a greater work of art. The master craftsman speaks softly to his apprentice, his voice barely above a whisper, explaining the ancient techniques, the sacred knowledge that transforms mere feathers into objects of power and beauty. He speaks of the spirits that live within each feather, of the prayers that must be spoken before beginning work, of the fasting and purification required of those who work with such sacred materials. You watch as he demonstrates the binding technique, using thread made from the finest maguey fiber. Each knot is tied with specific prayers, each step in the process blessed by ritual and devotion. The thread is dyed with cochineal, deep red like the blood of sacrifice, strong enough to last for generations. Flexible enough to move with the feathers as if they were still. Alive, the craftsman shows his apprentice a shield decorated with the image of an eagle. Each feather has been cut and shaped to create the perfect illusion of the great bird in flight. The eagle's eyes are made from pieces of obsidian, black and shining, surrounded by rings of gold and red feathers that seem to glow with inner light. The wings spread across the shield's surface, each individual feather visible, each one perfectly placed to create the impression of power and majesty. This shield will protect a warrior in battle, but more than that, it will carry the spirit of the eagle, lending the warrior the bird's keen sight, its fierce courage, its connection to the sun god who flies across the sky each day from east to west. The feathers are not mere decoration. They are vessels of power, carriers of divine essence, bridges between the world of men and the realm of the gods. A gentle breeze stirs the air in the workshop, causing the hanging feathers to rustle softly, like whispered secrets, like the voices of the birds from which they came. The sound is peaceful, hypnotic, a natural music that speaks of wind through forest canopies, of wings beating against blue sky, of freedom and flight, and the endless dance of air and feather. The light in the workshop grows softer as clouds pass across the sun. The obsidian windows diffuse the light into a gentle glow that makes every feather seem to luminescence from within. Green becomes more green, blue deeper and richer, red warm as embers, all the colours of creation represented in this small, peaceful room. You lean back against a pile of soft cotton, watching the play of light and shadow across the feathered walls. The workshop feels like a sacred space, a temple dedicated to beauty, to patience, to the marriage of human skill and natural wonder. Here, time moves differently, measured not in moments, but in the slow accumulation of perfect details. The gradual transformation of raw materials into objects of transcendent beauty. The master craftsman begins humming softly as he works, an ancient song that his teacher taught him, that his teacher's teacher learned generations ago. The melody is simple and repetitive, like a mantra, like the sound of waves on a distant shore. It helps him maintain the perfect rhythm of his work, the meditation that transforms labor into worship. His apprentice joins in the humming, their voices blending in perfect harmony. The sound fills the workshop like incense, creating an atmosphere of peace and devotion that seems to bless every feather, every thread, every small tool used in the sacred work of creation. The craftsman picks up another quetzal feather, this one longer than thee. First, its colours even more brilliant. He holds it up to the light, examining every detail, every subtle gradation of colour and texture. Only when he is completely satisfied does he begin the delicate process of attachment. His movements slow and sure, guided by decades of experience and the accumulated wisdom of generations. You feel your own breathing slow to match the rhythm of the craftsman's work, the gentle cadence of his movements, the soft humming that continues like a prayer. The peaceful atmosphere of the workshop wraps around you like a feathered cloak, warm and soft and infinitely comforting. The sound of rain begins outside, gentle drops pattering against the obsidian windows. The sound is soft and rhythmic, like fingers. Drumming on wooden tables, like water dripping into sacred pools. It blends with the humming, with the soft rustling of feathers, creating a symphony of peace that seems to slow time itself. Your eyelids grow heavy as you watch the master craftsman's patient work. The careful placement of each feather, the devotion to perfection that characterizes every movement. The workshop grows dimmer as the rain clouds thicken, but the feathers continue to glow with their inner light, like stars scattered across the walls, like fragments of dreams made visible. The rain on the windows, the soft humming, the gentle rustling of thousands of feathers, all blend together into a lullaby of creation, of beauty born from patience, of art that connects earth to sky, human hands to divine inspiration. You rest peacefully, surrounded by the accumulated beauty of generations, listening to the ancient songs, breathing the sacred air. You drift into a deep, restful sleep. Chapter 4. The Twilight Market. You find yourself in the great marketplace of Tlatelolco as the sun begins its descent toward the western mountains. The day's heat is fading, replaced by the gentle warmth of evening, and the air carries the mingled scents of 1,000 different goods, spices and flowers, chocolate and copal, fresh tortillas and roasted corn. The market stretches as far as the eye can see, a maze of stalls and booths where traders from across the empire come to exchange their treasures. From the tropical lowlands come cacao beans and brilliant feathers, jade and obsidian. From the mountains come silver and precious stones, pine resin and medicinal herbs. From the lakes come fish and waterfowl, salt and the blue-green algae that is dried and formed into cakes rich in nutrients. You walk slowly along the wide avenues that divide the market into sections, your feet silent on the smooth flagstones that have been swept clean. Evening's trade. The stones are still warm from the day's sun, and they radiate a gentle heat that speaks of Earth's patience, of foundations that will endure long after the day's commerce is done. Ahead, you see the flower sellers preparing their evening displays. Great bundles of marigolds glow like captured sunlight, their orange and yellow petals releasing a spicy sweet fragrance that mingles with the cool evening air. These flowers are sacred to the dead, and tomorrow some will be woven into garlands for family altars, while others will be scattered on the waters of the lake as offerings to the water gods. An elderly woman arranges lilies in large clay vessels filled with lake water. The white blooms float like small boats on the dark surface, their reflections creating perfect doubles that shimmer when the water moves. She works with practiced hands, adjusting each flower until the harmony, like a prayer made visible in petals and leaves. Near the flower sellers, merchants display textiles woven from the finest cotton and maguey fibre. The cloth is soft as clouds, dyed in colours that speak of sky and earth. Deep blue, like the heart of night. Red, like the rising sun. Yellow, like ripe corn. Each piece represents months of work, threads spun by patient hands. Patterns woven from ancient knowledge, passed down through generations of skilled artisans. A young woman demonstrates the art of spinning cotton, her fingers moving with unconscious grace as she draws thread from the fluffy bowls. The spindle turns slowly, steadily, creating thread so fine it seems to be made of moonbeams. She hums as she works, an ancient song that helps maintain the rhythm. The soft conversations of other merchants, voices speaking in Nahuatl, and the dozen other languages heard in this cosmopolitan marketplace. But the tone is universally peaceful, unhurried. The evening market moves at a different pace than the busy morning trade. Here, transactions are ceremonies, exchanges of respect as much as goods. You pause before a stall selling chocolate, where a master craftsman demonstrates the ancient art of preparing the sacred drink. He grinds cacao beans on a stone metate, the volcanic rock worn smooth by generations of use. The beans release their rich, dark fragrance as they are crushed, a scent that speaks of earth and rain, of tropical forests where jaguars prowl and quetzal birds nest in the highest trees. The craftsman adds spices to the ground cacao, vanilla pods scraped to release their precious seeds, chili peppers that will add warmth without jars. Each ingredient is measured with the precision of ritual, the knowledge that this drink connects mortals to gods, earth to sky, the present moment to eternity. He pours water heated in a special vessel, stirring the mixture with a wooden molinillo carved with sacred symbols. The tool spins between his palms, creating foam that rises to the surface like clouds gathering for rain. The sound is gentle, rhythmic, like distant thunder or the whisper of wind through leaves. A noble stops to sample the chocolate, sipping from a gourd cup decorated with intricate patterns. His expression becomes peaceful, meditative, as the rich flavors spread across his tongue. This is more than refreshment, it is communion, a moment of connection with the divine forces that govern cacao, that bless the beans with their sacred power. Near the chocolate cellar, merchants display precious stones and metals. Obsidian blades sharp enough to split a hair, their black surfaces reflecting the evening light like dark mirrors. Jade beads the color of deep water, each one carved with symbols of power and protection. Silver ornaments that catch and hold the last rays of the setting sun, transforming light into beauty, into objects of devotion and display. A master jeweler demonstrates his craft, using tools made from bone and stone to shape a piece of jade into a small figurine of Tenochtitlan, the precious turkey who governs intoxication and mystery. Each cut is deliberate, precise, guided by knowledge that transforms raw stone into vessels of sacred power. The sound of his work is gentle, rhythmic, like raindrops on stone, like the patient tick of time itself. The air grows cooler as the sun sinks lower, and the merchants begin lighting small braziers filled with copal incense. The sweet smoke rises in gentle spirals, carrying prayers and blessings up to the gods who watch over commerce and community. The scent is clean and piney, with undertones of honey and earth. A fragrance that speaks of devotion, of the connection between human activity and divine blessing. Children help their parents prepare for the evening's final sales, carefully arranging goods, lighting torches that will illuminate the stalls as darkness falls. Their movements are gentle, unhurried, part of the ancient rhythm of market life, but has continued unchanged for leaves. They begin to play softly, gently, creating a musical backdrop for the evening's trade. The melody is ancient, peaceful, based on the natural rhythms of breath and heartbeat, of wind and water. It speaks of cycles, of the eternal return of seasons, of the comfort found in patterns that connect past and future, present moment to eternal time. Vendors selling food begin preparing the evening meal. Corn is ground on stone metates, the rhythmic scraping creating a percussion that blends with the musician's instruments. The masa is formed into tortillas, cooked on clay griddles that release the sweet scent of toasted corn. This is the smell of home, of family, of the basic sustenance that connects all people to the earth that feeds them. Steam symphony that speaks of abundance, of the earth's generosity, of the human skill that transforms raw ingredients into nourishment for body and soul. As the sun touches the western horizon, the entire marketplace is bathed in golden light. The colors of goods and people become richer, deeper, as if touched by the hand of a divine artist. Textiles glow like stained glass, Metals shine like captured stars. Faces become luminous with the warm light of approaching evening. The pace of the market slows even further. Conversations become more intimate, more peaceful. Transactions are completed with ceremony and respect. Each exchange a small ritual of community, of the bonds that connect people across the vast reaches of the empire. Your eyelids grow heavy as you absorb the peaceful atmosphere, the gentle sounds of commerce conducted with reverence, the soft music, the whispered conversations, the distant laughter of children, blend together into a lullaby of community, of human activity conducted in harmony with the rhythms of earth and sky. The golden light fades gradually to rose, then to purple. The first stars appear overhead, distant fires that will guide night travelers, that remind all people of their place in the vast cosmos. The marketplace prepares for evening, for rest, for the peaceful conclusion of another day of trade and fellowship. You find a quiet corner near the musicians, settling onto a soft mat woven from lake reeds. The music continues, gentle and hypnotic, while around you the marketplace slowly winds down, stalls closing, goods packed away, families gathering for the evening meal. The sounds fade gradually, like voices calling across increasing distance, until only the music remains, soft and peaceful, carrying you toward rest, toward dreams, toward the deep quiet of night. You drift into a deep, restful sleep. Chapter 5: The Sacred Lake at Night. You find yourself floating gently on the sacred waters of Lake Texcoco. Your small reed boat drifting silently beneath a canopy of stars that stretch from horizon to horizon. The water is perfectly still, like a dark mirror reflecting the cosmos. Each star doubled in the lake's surface, creating the illusion that you float suspended between two infinite skies. The night air is cool and soft against your skin, carrying the gentle fragrance of water lilies and night-blooming cereus. The flowers open only in darkness, their white petals luminous in the starlight, their sweet perfume drifting across the water like incense offered to the night gods who watch over dreams and rest. Your boat moves without effort, guided by currents so gentle they seem like the breathing of the lake itself. The reeds from which it is woven creak softly, a natural music that speaks of marshes and waterbirds, of plants that grow in the marriage place between earth and water, between the solid world of day and the fluid realm of night and dreams. Around you, the great city of Tenochtitlan rises from the lake like a vision. Its temples and palaces, dark silhouettes against the star-filled sky. Torches burn at intervals along the causeways, their flames reflected in the water as ribbons of gold that waver and dance with each small movement of the lake's surface. The lights seem to connect heaven and earth, stars above and stars below, all part of the same sacred geometry. The great temple looms in the distance, its twin pyramids reaching toward the constellations like stone prayers. At its summit, a sacred fire burns eternally, tended by priests who maintain the connection between earth and sky. between human time and cosmic time. The flame flickers but never dies, a beacon of continuity in the flowing river of moments that tarries all life from birth to death to rebirth. A great blue heron stands motionless in the shallows near your boat, its reflection perfect in the still water. It watches you with ancient patience, a living symbol of the wisdom that comes from stillness, from the ability to wait, to observe, to exist fully in each moment without grasping for the next. Its presence is a blessing, a reminder that peace comes to those who learn the heron's art of sacred waiting. The sound of distant drums begins, so soft it might be the heartbeat of the earth itself. The rhythm is slow and deep, like the pulse of sleeping giants, like the breath of gods dreaming in the depths of the lake. It comes from the temples where night priests conduct the ceremonies that maintain the balance between light and darkness, between the visible world and the realm of. Spirits, your boat drifts past a bed of water lilies, their flowers closed now in sleep, waiting for tomorrow's sun to call them back to wakefulness. The leaves rest on the water's surface like stepping stones for fairy feet, dark circles that create patterns of shadow and reflected starlight. Each lily pad is perfect in its simplicity, a meditation on the beauty that emerges when form follows the deepest principles of nature. A family of ducks sleeps among the reeds, their heads tucked beneath their wings, rocking gently with the lake's subtle movement. They have found the perfect balance between vigilance and rest, aware enough to sense danger, relaxed enough to restore their spirits in the healing darkness. Their soft breathing creates tiny ripples that spread outward in perfect circles, like prayers made visible on the water's surface. The night breeze carries the sound of conch shells from distant temples, their deep voices calling across the water, like the songs of sleeping whales. The sound echoes and re-echoes, bouncing off the stone walls of the city, growing softer and more musical with each repetition, until it becomes part of the night's natural symphony, indistinguishable from wind and water, from the whispered conversations of reeds swaying in the darkness. You pass a chinampa, where an old farmer tends his night-blooming plants, moving slowly between the rows with a small torch that casts dancing shadows on the water. He speaks softly in Nahuatl to his crops, blessing them, encouraging them, sharing with them the ancient wisdom that flows between human hearts and the green spirits that dwell in seed and stem and leaf. His voice is barely audible, but it carries the weight of generations, the accumulated love of countless farmers who have worked these floating gardens since time began. The farmer's torch reflects in the dark water, creating a pool of golden light that follows him as he moves. Fish rise to investigate the illumination, their silver scales flashing briefly before they disappear back into the depths. Everything in this night world moves with the unhurried pace of dream, of meditation, of time measured not in moments, but in the slow rhythm of growth and rest that governs all natural things. Your boat enters a grove of cypress trees that grow directly from the lake, their ancient trunks rising like pillars supporting the star-filled dome of sky. The trees are sacred, planted by the gods themselves when the world was young. Their roots reach deep into the lake's bottom, drawing up the sacred water that connects all life, while their branches stretch toward the constellations, gathering starlight to nourish their eternal growth. Among the cypress trees, you hear the soft splash of countless generations. The scorpion that guards the southern sky, the eagle that carries the sun across the heavens, the feathered serpent that connects earth to sky, water to air, darkness to light. Each star is a point of divine fire, a reminder that the same sacred energy that illuminates the night sky also flows through your heart, through the water beneath your boat, through every living thing that breathes and grows and dreams. Your boat drifts toward a small island where night-blooming cereus grow in abundance. Their white flowers open like stars fallen to earth, releasing a fragrance so pure and sweet it seems to cleanse the very air. These flowers bloom only once, for a single night, then close forever. Their brief beauty is a meditation on the preciousness of each moment, the necessity of being fully present to experience the gifts that life offers in the eternal now. A gentle current carries you around the island, past ancient trees draped with Spanish moss that glows faintly in the starlight. The moss moves like ghostly curtains in the night breeze, creating patterns of shadow and light that shift and change like the thoughts of sleeping gods. Everything here exists in the liminal space between waking and sleeping, between the solid world of day and the fluid realm of dreams. The sound of water lapping against the shore becomes your heartbeat, your breathing, the rhythm that carries you deeper into the peace of sacred night. Each small wave speaks of continuity, of cycles that have repeated since the world began, of the eternal conversation between water and land, between the lake that receives all things and the earth that gives them form and substance. You notice fireflies beginning to appear among the reeds, their tiny lights blinking in fragments of starlight that have descended to play among the water plants. Their light is soft and golden, pulsing with the rhythm of some cosmic heartbeat that connects all luminous things, all points of consciousness in the vast web of existence. A night heron calls from somewhere in the darkness, its voice carrying across the water like a prayer, like a benediction spoken over the sleeping lake. The sound is answered by the gentle splash of fish jumping, by the rustle of reeds in the night wind, by the distant drumming from temples where priests maintain the sacred fires that connect this moment to eternity. Your eyelids grow heavy as you absorb the profound peace of the sacred lake at night, the gentle rocking of your boat, the soft sounds of water and wind, the patient breathing of sleeping waterfowl, all combine to create a lullaby of such perfect harmony that time itself seems to slow, to pause, to gather you into its arms like a mother, comforting a child. The stars wheel slowly overhead, following paths established before memory, before history, before the first human beings learned to navigate by their light. They are the eternal witnesses, the unchanging points of reference in a world of constant flow and change. Their light has travelled vast distances to reach this moment, this place, this perfect convergence of water and sky and human consciousness, floating peacefully between them. You feel your breathing deepen, matching the rhythm of the lake itself, the slow pulse of currents that carry nutrients and life throughout this sacred body of water. Your heartbeat synchronizes with the distant drums, with the gentle lapping of waves, with the cosmic rhythm that underlies all existence, connects all things in one vast, breathing, dreaming organism. The night air grows cooler, but your reed boat holds the warmth of the day. The accumulated blessing of sun and water working to this perfect vessel for your journey into rest. The reeds whisper ancient secrets as they creak, stories of their growth in sacred marshes, of their transformation from living plant to sacred craft, of their service in carrying countless souls across the waters of dream and memory. Around you, the night-blooming flowers release their final fragrances, a symphony of perfumes that speaks of Earth's generosity, of the plant kingdom's gift to all breathing creatures, of the connection between the human heart and the green world that sustains all life. Each breath carries these blessings deeper into your body, into your spirit, into the peaceful core where all tensions dissolve. The sacred lake cradles your boat like a mother's hands, supporting you completely, asking nothing in return but presence, awareness, gratitude for this moment of perfect peace, suspended between the stars above and their reflections below. You are held, supported, blessed by waters that have witnessed the prayers of countless generations, that will continue to flow long after your own journey has become part of the eternal story. Your boat drifts toward the center of the lake, where the water is deepest, where the connection between earth and sky becomes most profound. Here, in this sacred heart of the ancient world, time moves differently, measured not in moments, but in the slow circulation of seasons, the patient breath of sleeping gods, the eternal rhythm of water, receiving and releasing, gathering and giving, in endless cycles of generosity and grace. The last earthly sounds fade into the cosmic silence. The drums grow distant, the night birds quiet. Even the water becomes perfectly still, as if the entire lake holds its breath in reverence for this moment of absolute peace. You float in perfect stillness, perfect silence, perfect connection with the sacred forces that flow through water and starlight, through the night air and your own peaceful heart. Your breathing becomes so slow, so deep, that it seems to merge with the breathing of the lake itself. In and out, in and out. Each breath carries you deeper into rest, into the healing darkness where all tensions dissolve, all worries fade, all consciousness merges with the vast, peaceful, eternal now that embraces all things, holds all things, blesses all things with its infinite, loving, patient presence. You drift, gently, peacefully, across the sacred waters. Your boat becomes a cradle, the lake becomes a lullaby, the stars become blessings scattered across the infinite sky of your dreams. The night wind whispers ancient songs of rest and restoration, of peace that flows like water through every cell of your body, every corner of your spirit. You are held, you are blessed, you are home in the sacred heart of night. You drift into the deepest, most peaceful, most restorative sleep, carried by the eternal waters, blessed by the eternal stars, embraced by the eternal love that flows through all things, now and always, forever and ever, in perfect peace.